Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to a very special edition of the show. And today I've got in the co-captain's chair, joining me as he often does, Mr. Chris Alo from the Hudson Valley Squares and the Monsters Den. What's up, Chris? And welcome.
What's
from Constraints of
thanks,
Light.
Pete, thanks. How's everybody?
Dan. What's up, Chris? What's up, everybody? We got Felicity and Stephen from LA from the band Constraints of Light. They got a new EP coming out, and Felicity also is doing all sorts of other stuff. And Chris and I both follow Felicity on Facebook, and we figured, you know, it'd be a cool time to get her on the show here to just talk about all the different projects you've been working on, and specifically the music, which is heavy metal, right? We love heavy metal here on Sea of Tranquility. So welcome both of you. So why don't we talk a little bit about the EP? So 3 songs, right? Is that that's what you got so far?
That's right.
Yeah, thank you for having us on here. We're excited. Yeah, this is our second EP that we've done together. It was pretty much this year's effort that we, produced this. It's all original things that we've wrote together. We're a 2-piece band. We've been playing together for like a little over 3 years now, I'd say. Yeah, like close to 4 years. And we're best friends. We get along super well. We love creating music together, and it's just been seamlessly easy creating things together. We kind of combine both of our styles, and we've been learning a lot from each other just as musicians.
And so everybody knows, so Felicity plays drums and Stephen plays guitar. So it's kind of an interesting lineup here. No bass, no keyboards, right? Just the two of you. But if you listen to the songs, you guys got a pretty big wall of sound for just the two of you, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, well, you can explain the bass part.
Yeah, I run a few different signals in live, and we recorded a few different tracks with instruments. So I run a stereo guitar tracks, and then I also run a bass signal to a bass amp. So it's like we have all the amps of a full band, but it's just the two of us. And plus Felicity, her drumming style, like she really fills out a lot of space. Like she's very busy.
I feel it out.
I'll say. I had like Pete had mentioned, he and I follow you on Facebook. And I don't know, one day there was a clip of you playing drums, and I was like, oh my God, I'm like, Felicity Feline can play drums, and I'm like, she's really fucking good, and she's in this band, and the band is really good. I'm like, this is crazy.
Oh, thank
you. I had no idea that you were also a musician.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'll get back to the EP, but I've been playing drums pretty much since elementary school. When I could pick an instrument, I picked percussion, and I was a very high energy child. I was playing a lot of sports. I was very athletic. I was kind of a tomboy, I guess you could say. And percussion just was natural to me. I loved it. And my mom and dad got me a private instructor pretty much from elementary school to high school. And he was like an uncle to me. He pretty much watched me progress as a musician. And my parents bought me a drum set in 6th grade. So I started, learning to play the kit, and I just loved music. I mean, the only thing that kind of happened, which I get sometimes sad about, is because I was very disciplined up until high school. Like I would practice every day. I was a rudimental nerd, I loved practicing rudiments. I can read music really well. And then in high school, I really got into just psychedelic music and metal, and I just wanted to jam with people, so I stopped practicing as much, and I started just jamming, with like friends. And fortunately, my parents were cool. They would let me have people come over the house and play with me, but I kind of lost a little bit of like my discipline. And in college, it was kind of like that too. And then when I moved out to LA, when I got involved in the adult industry, I was making good money, but I had a lot of free time. And so I took that free time and just really started getting back into drumming and practicing every day and getting my chops back. And the hard work is paying off. And when I met Stephen, I was in another metal band at the time, but that I quit that band after a few years because we just weren't really making the progress I wanted to. And I met Stephen at a great time. I mean, we met off Craigslist, I think. Yeah, it was Craigslist. And we jammed and just hit it off instantly. Like we became really close friends. We talked really easily. We jammed really easily. And it was just a fit. And I had never been in a two-piece project before. So, well, I mean, besides just, jamming with people, but Stephen was like, yeah, I really want to do a two-piece band. And I'm like, okay, I mean, let's do it. And just over the time we've learned about each other's playing, my style with metal, like I like to incorporate some prog metal, but also some stoner sludgy metal. And so our first EP was very more sludgy, I'd say. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And like a little slower tempo. And I have been really getting more into double bass and just wanted to play more like thrashy metal, like faster. And so our new EP, it's definitely, you can hear that transition that we've been making over the years. And COVID was actually kind of a blessing for us because
I wouldn't say blessing.
Okay. Sorry.
Musically
I think I'm back. Go ahead. No, I'm just kidding. Well, we okay, I should say this. We utilized the time very well during COVID. I mean, we had our lockout for like 3 years, which we recently just lost, which we're very pissed about because it was a great situation. But we were in that fucking lockout like 4 or 5 times a week, just playing and jamming. And I had in my old house, I had my whole drum room set up and we would jam there sometimes, but it was a little further for Stephen to get there. So yeah, so I mean, during COVID, we did our first EP. And this one was our second.
Yeah, we recorded the first one at Clear Lake in North Hollywood, which we go in there and like the first record I see on the wall is No Doubt's Tragic Kingdom. So I was like, wow, like that's one of the biggest records like in rock ever. So that was really cool. So
can you open the door?
Yeah.
Sorry, my dog's gonna come in for a second.
Yeah, so we had recorded there and we recorded with Alex Schneider and Eric Milos. And we had a really good time. But I think with our newer music, it is a little bit more complex and it's more of us feeding off of each other with just our writing.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing I love too, the one thing I've really loved playing together is that our writing process has been so, I mean, I don't know, easy. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. I mean, either, I have a cool rhythm in my head or he'll have an awesome riff and we'll just be like, hey, check this out. Like I was thinking about this today, and he'll play it or I'll play it. And then the other one of us will just be like, oh yeah, that's cool. And then, we'll create something right off of that and we'll record it and then come back to it and then just keep growing from those. Or, when we just jam to warm up,
Yeah.
If we're jamming and something sounds really cool, we're like, oh shit, that is awesome. Like we got to include that in like a next song.
Yeah. Felicity loves to post those videos of our jams and they're all just improvised. Like there's no writing done. It's just really just us warming up to play our sets and our songs.
Yeah, which, I've gotten some criticism from people like saying like, oh, you should do more covers, but personally, I hate covers.
Everybody does it.
I hate it. Like I've always hated playing covers, and especially as a female drummer, there's a lot of females, that are popular drummers that all they do is covers. And, nothing against them. Like it takes discipline to learn songs and skill, but I just have never been motivated to do that. Like it's just, if I have to, sure, like, okay. But creatively, like it was never that inspirational for me to want to learn covers. And I just really love the process of like making our own original music because it's ours, it's like that's coming from our brains. I love that. But So every time we jam, if I'm like feeling, okay, I'm feeling confident today, this sounds pretty good, I'm gonna record this, pop it on some social media, but it's cool because like it's literally just winging it, us just jamming, warming up, getting some energy out, which I don't know, I feel like that's a bit more genuine.
Yeah, I hear you. So I listened to the EP, and which the songs are Controlled Burning, Guilty by Association, and History of Domestic Violence. So one of the things that really kind of stood out to me is there's a good amount of bottom end to these songs. And you mentioned sludgy metal before, and I get a lot of that in listening to these songs. And, they're kind of, some of them, a couple of them are fast paced, but there's real meaty riffs on there. There's a good amount of complexity. And I'm hearing in some of the riffs, and again, whether these were influences on you guys or not, I don't know, but these are some of the things that kind of jump out at me, is I was reminded in spots of Gojira, as well as a little bit of Voivod, and a little bit of old school,
we get Voivod everywhere.
old school Venom. I heard a little Venom in there as well.
Yeah.
And just
I heard, to my ears, I heard some Sabbathy kind of riffs, and I totally picked up a Neurosis vibe. So I don't know if Pete and I are totally off the mark, but
no, not at all. I mean, like literally, so we recorded this last EP with Taylor Young, and he was previously the drummer in Nails. Now he plays in Apparition, right?
He plays in a lot of bands.
Yeah,
he plays bass in Apparition. He plays he plays guitar in Twitching Tongues and God's Hate. But I've really liked some of the records that he's done, that he's recorded, and all that bottom end. That's he was really like very much master engineering and producing this record, or this is an EP.
Yeah.
So that was all the low end was definitely his idea. Like it was him for sure.
Yeah, he was fantastic to work with. Like it was just a breeze. Like and also because he's a great drummer, he had an awesome kit. Because I wasn't sure if I wanted to use my kit again, because the first EP is my kit, which I use a DW kit. I like custom mounted 2 rack toms on the bass drum, because all their bass drums are Virgin. So like you have to, I went to Pro Drum Shop in Hollywood, had them mount it and everything. But he had a great kit. I think it was a Tama kit. Like, no?
No, I think it wasn't like CNC or something like that.
I can't remember, but I should remember that. It's bad, but but he was great. I mean, like his drums sounded phenomenal, and he just had great pointers. Like for the most part, we practiced so much. I mean, so by the time we were ready to record, like we were ready.
We were so rehearsed.
I could play with my eyes closed. Like we
were practicing with click tracks. Like we were ready.
Yeah, because I just wanted to bang it out, and like because some of the songs are really, they're tiring to play. They really are. I mean, especially Controlled Burning, like some of the fills at the end with the double bass, like it gets.
And it's 8 minutes.
It's like 8 minutes of it, So like I really had my endurance up. But he was awesome. Him and Stephen collaborated really well too. So.
Felicity knocked out those drums in very fast, like one day, not even a day. It was like half a day, maybe.
Yeah, it was probably like 7 hours. Or something.
Controlled Burning, the 8-minute song she did first.
Yeah.
And I think for the most part, it was all the first take.
Yeah.
I think there was maybe like a tiny bit that we had to go back and redo, but for the most part, it's all just the first take she did.
Yeah. Because I mean, for the most part, I have, put it this way, like everything in the song I play exactly as every time I play it. But in Controlled Burning, in the last segment of it, the fills, sometimes like I slightly switch the fills up a little bit, and so it's probably never exactly the same every time I play it. I mean, very close to it, but we played that, and the first take was just perfect. I'm like, I don't even want to do it again. Like, I was like, I love that. We're keeping it. you know, we went in and like maybe fixed a couple cymbal parts, but like it was, you know, what I wanted. Because I can be a little bit of a perfectionist sometimes with playing, especially, you know, after you practice so much, like you just want everything to come out exactly as you kind of had in your head. But we're pretty happy with this album, the EP, especially compared to our last one. It's just, we've progressed a lot.
So when will people be able to hear this and get their hands on it? Like, you doing just like digital or streaming, or are you going to have a physical CD or anything?
We're gonna do both, yeah, because I mean, now that like we're playing shows again and stuff, we want to maybe have some physical copies. But we used DistroKid to put it out. I mean, that's what we did with our last one, but we've been thinking of maybe shopping around like for labels or something, you know, now that we have like 2 things under our belt. I feel like a label would take a more serious look at us. So we're considering that, but if we don't, I mean, because that might take some time, you know, like if we went down that route, so we might just put it out ourselves again. I really want to get a music video for one of the songs. Like we have some cool ideas, and we got to get some more like professional photos, you know, just band photos and stuff, but it's kind of our next move.
You mentioned live work. So what do you have coming up like on the schedule? I know it must be difficult with COVID still going on for you guys to get stuff scheduled, but it sounds like you've been trying to squeeze it in when you can.
Yeah, I mean, right this second, I don't think we really have anything specific. Because I mean, it's been so limited. I mean, we're both friends with a few metal promoters like in LA, and my friend Andrew from Metal Assault, like he'll hit me up. He's like, hey, you know, I'm doing this show. Does Constraints of Light want to play? And we'll jump on it, you know, but it's been a little harder to find venues that are welcoming, and not welcoming, but like wanting, you know, to book shows and everything. It's LA's been kind of weird, you know, with COVID and everything. So
New York's the same.
Yeah, it's no different here.
Oh yeah, I mean, New York is, yeah, I was just there. Like it's definitely hard in New York too, but yeah. So I mean, we were trying to just take like what we can get at this point with shows, you know, hopefully have like a lineup with other bands that are similar to our sound, you know. So
we were talking with some other bands about maybe doing a few West Coast shows in March. Like maybe hit San Jose and Oakland and a few Northern California stops. But we don't have anything finalized yet.
Yeah. I mean, like once we have the EP out, and I'm gonna definitely promote it pretty hard, you know, on social media. I think that will give us a little bit more traction, you know, and have people contact us, because I mean, I have people hitting me up a lot, like to play shows and stuff, like friends that know venues and whatnot, but I mean, things just haven't been coming to fruition as quickly as I've wanted to with shows, you know, but I think in the next couple of months, like we'll definitely get out more and play more. We played a few shows like the past couple of months, a couple of house parties too. But you know, they weren't huge shows, but they were fun. They were with other local LA bands. So.
And is it always just the two of you? You don't add anyone else when you play live?
No, it's just us.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about maybe in like a future EP getting some like other guest musicians like in a song or two, but I mean, for the most part, it's just been so easy with the two of us, you know, and we both like have our shit together, you know, and are stable and make good income, and you know, like are trustworthy and reliable. So like it's so nice just knowing like you have a bandmate that we're on the same page, and it's just so easy to communicate and make plans and be like, okay, yep, let's rehearse here and here and here, and then, you know, because in the past, like I was in a doom metal band with like 5 people, and you know, we recorded one single, and I was trying to finish this album because we had like 4 awesome songs, and it was just impossible to coordinate with everyone, you know, and some of the guys are dead ass broke, you know, like couldn't even put gas in their car. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, like it's tough. Like sometimes I mean, when you're just trying to make it as a musician, and it's hard to make like a stable income from that.
Yeah, welcome to the world of trying to be a rock star, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
We hear that from a lot of like really, fairly known bands who don't have a
sure.
penny to their name. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a tough gig.
Yeah.
And I always knew that that two-piece thing would work because some of my favorite bands are two-piece. I mean, there's Juicifers, probably my favorite band ever, and they've always just been a two-piece. The band Ohm is a two-piece. Black Cobra is a two-piece. So I knew that it was going to be tricky to fill out, like all the frequencies, all the guitar frequencies and the bass frequencies. But I knew it was possible, and so far this has worked out really well.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I am conceptually talking about possibly doing like a Sea of Tranquility festival, like maybe in late summer, early fall here in New York. So if you guys might be interested in heading to the other coast, maybe we can have you appear there if it happens.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
I go to New York all the time. I mean, 'cause my whole family is still on Long Island. I'm pretty much, besides one of my sisters, she lives in Palm Desert out here, but my whole family is on Long Island. So I go out and visit as much as I can. A little less during COVID, but I mean, I'd go like every other month sometimes. Like I'd find a reason to go, and he's in North Carolina, so he's not far like his family. But yeah, I mean, one thing I wanted to touch base with too, like playing together, like and being in a two-piece band. What's cool is that, we both love metal. But I'd say like some of our influences are a bit different. I mean, we share some interests, like he mentioned Ohm. I love Ohm, but I'm definitely more into like prog metal, I mean, like I grew up on Dream Theater being one of my favorite bands, and I'd say like my favorite band's probably Opeth.
Chris, Felicity is speaking my language now, right? You're talking to Dream Theater, Opeth, Symphony X. I mean, that's kind of, that's my.
That's right up Pete's alley.
Yeah, I mean, actually, Mike Portnoy, who was in Dream Theater on the Images and Words, he played like my favorite album. He's from Long Island. Yep. He's a friend of mine.
Yeah, Mike has been on the show here.
He's been on the show quite a few times. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just funny, like having him from Long Island too. But yeah, I mean, prog metal, I really appreciate the musicianship, and I don't know, the style of drumming too, for me is just, it's so fluid, and there's like this tranquil kind of element to it too. Like I can't, it's hard to describe, but like Opeth for me, I've loved them so much because they kind of go to both sides of the spectrum, like you'll have these crazy black metal riffs and vocals, and then they'll have this breakdown and it will suddenly be this beautiful, almost lullaby and completely different, and like I just love their contrast musically. Like I've always been able to relate to it, like almost like my personality, because I can go to kind of both extremes of like masculine, feminine, like drumming for me is a really amazing outlet for letting more of like my masculine energy out and more of like my aggression. So yeah, I mean, back to the music influences, but like, like Megadeth, Pantera, like Corrosion of Conformity, like those were like my favorite bands growing up. And so drumming wise, I could say like that's definitely had an impact on me, and with him, I mean, he can speak more about like his style, but
yeah. So I like hardcore and sludge metal and death metal and just gnarly music. So it's a good fit for us. And although Felicity doesn't really listen to much hardcore, she does play very upbeat. So it gives it meshes well with some of the riffs that I like.
Yeah, I think mainly because like, well, also prog metal, but like groove metal. I love groove metal, like Lamb of God. Okay, one of my favorite bands, and I shouldn't name drop right now because I might get in trouble from people. But
people love hearing that though. So.
I'm just saying I toured with Lamb of God for a bit, like because I was involved with one of the band members, and I got firsthand to like experience that as like a 23-year-old, and it was pretty fucking awesome. But like just musically too, like their style, I love so much, and I think that what he's saying, like more of upbeat, definitely is kind of from the groove metal. But like as far as sludge, I mean like Down, Super Joint Ritual, like those are also like influences of mine, like I love kind of combining that style. And I think this new EP like really shows that, how like his style and my style kind of met together.
Yeah. And working with Taylor too was great, because we met with Taylor before we had signed up to record with him, and we go in there and he's like, yeah, I hear like some influences, like some Doomy and some like Meshuggah and some Voivod, and we're like, wow, like this is our guy. He knows exactly what we want to do and how we want it to sound. And plus he had recorded, before he joined Apparition, he recorded the Apparition record last year, which was so great. And honestly, my favorite of his records that he had recorded was the Antichrist Demon Core record he did in 2020. That was Satan is King. And I remember hearing that record when it came out, and just like, wow, like I've never heard grindcore so clear, like everything is so clean and so crystal clear, because usually like a grindcore record sounds like it was recorded in somebody's bathroom.
Yeah.
Right.
And the way that Taylor mixed it and recorded it just sounded so great. So we were very happy to work with him.
Yeah. And then like I'm friends with the bassist from Suicide Silence, like he just recorded with them.
Oh, yeah.
And like I like that too.
Yeah, that was like the day before we
Yeah.
go meet with him, and he was recording Suicide Silence in Dave Grohl's 606 studio. So we're like, okay, well, we'll definitely record with you. Yeah, like that's a pretty good resume to have for us to,
Sure.
be a part of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll in the video description below, we'll throw some links for everybody to go check out your music, and hopefully when the EP is ready for release, we can drop that in there as well, and I'm sure everybody would be interested in checking it out. So but Felicity, you got all sorts of other stuff you're doing outside of music as well, right? So you've got the Felicity Fueled website, which has all sorts of cool stuff on there, nutrition and whatnot. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, my background, college background, health science, nutrition. I've been into health and wellness. I mean, pretty much like my whole life. My brother and I had celiac growing up, and I struggled with a few health issues. Like as a kid, I was really underweight, and I had trouble gaining weight and building muscle. And I was a bit of a late bloomer, I guess you could say. A lot of it was just because my colon was very inflamed, and I had some food allergies that I didn't know about until a little later in life, like high school, college. And from there, I fixed my diet up and really kind of figured my body out. And I used to have like bad eczema too from it. And it was just, it caused a lot of anxiety for me, but it also started to fuel passion for nutrition and just wanting to know what was going on in my body. And I wanted to help other people as well, just reach their optimal level of self, I guess you could say, because it's a really sad thing when people aren't utilizing their body the way they should, and once they correct some health issues and eat a better diet and live a healthier lifestyle, they're amazed with just how much better they feel. So having a nutrition background, it's something I'm just fascinated with. And so over the years, I've gotten more training to do that. I got licensed to be a nutritionist. And then I got certified to be a yoga instructor. It's just been a really great outlet for me because, like I was saying before, I have a lot of energy, and I need healthy outlets to put it into. And drumming obviously is one of my favorite outlets, but yoga kind of helps me balance out more of like my feminine energy and helps me balance out the tendency for me to kind of overanalyze and overthink. And so I'd say like that balance has been a really important factor in my life. But yeah, so I mean, nutrition, yoga, and then I've been really trying to transition more into that world over the years, because in my early 20s, I never really intended to get involved in the adult industry. Like I was kind of a nerd growing up. Like I was like kind of a nerdy tomboy, like just wanted to play drums and played sports. But I kind of blossomed by the time I got to like college, and I just sort of exploded with like sexual energy a little bit. And I started experimenting a little bit like with nude modeling and webcamming and dancing and stuff. And I got offered a lot of money at a young age to do some adult work. And, I was impulsive and really wanted to kind of create a new life for myself. And I fell into it. And I can't, live with regret. Like there's things that I wish I had done differently, but, we all wish we'd have done things differently when we were young. So at this point, I've just used it to my advantage over the years and built from it, and, got my shit together, saved money, like just kind of built a life for myself, and was able to like use this time, like not having necessarily a 9-to-5 job all the time. I was just able to really throw my energy into playing drums and to studying and going to school again for nutrition and things like that, so the past like 8 years of my life it's been an interesting balance of different things I've been involved in, but I try to be really efficient with my time and just focus on my passions, and the adult industry for me was really just like a stepping stone, like a means to an end. And I still utilize it. Like I make majority of my income from my own subscription sites like OnlyFans, and I do well on there. So now I don't do anything mainstream anymore. Like I don't shoot for mainstream companies anymore, because I want to be in control of my content, and that's something that I try to tell people that like come to me asking questions about it, is that it's a really shitty feeling to not own your own content and then later down the road wish that you could take it down, but you don't have the rights to it anymore. So now it's like I really just focus on building my brand, doing what I want to do, but I mean, that's kind of the gist of it. Like I think I kind of balance all the different elements in my life pretty well, and I'm happy, I like my life, so I can't complain.
Sometimes it takes a little bit to kind of find your niche in life, and I think we've all kind of experienced that. So
yeah, exactly. And I mean, I'm still on a journey, right? Like I definitely feel like I'm on my path and I'm doing what I want to do, but I also, think a lot about the future. And like, I'm going to go to nursing school, I think in the next year, because I want to get another credential, like in the medical field. Just to have, I mean, maybe I won't really like it that much, but I think it might be worth it to have, just an extra way to make income, because I'm not going to be able to rely on my OnlyFans forever, and like, I don't want to, like, I'm not going to want to do that forever, like, so I want to kind of create opportunities for me to transition to and be financially stable. Like that's very important for me, so yeah, unfortunately, like Stephen's been such a great friend over the years, and he's been like this very stable soundboard for me to vent to, and he's definitely been through some weird transitions in my life. He's helped me move probably like 4 or 5 times, so I'm grateful for him. But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I was gonna say, Stephen, how is it for you being in a band with Felicity? Like, is that like a blessing or a curse, or is it great, or does it suck?
It's such a curse. It's such a curse. I don't know why I do it. No, I mean, it's been fun. Like we get along really well. And I don't have any, of course, like honestly, like obviously I don't have any problem with any kind of adult stuff. I mean, shit, work is work. So
yeah, I mean, Stephen's never been judgmental. I mean, even when we first met, like there was no weirdness. Like, and I mean, I'm the type of person where like I put my cards on the table. Like I like to be transparent. I got nothing to hide. Like, you know what I mean?
That was funny though, was like she had a jealous boyfriend, because we were practicing a lot. Like, I mean, we were practicing, 3 or so times a week, and yeah, and they had gotten into an argument or something. I wasn't there, but she told me, like, he was like, I bet he watches all your videos every time, like, right before you guys go and play and stuff. Like, man, like, it's hilarious.
I know. It's definitely, it's funny. I mean, for me, sometimes the biggest challenge is to be taken seriously, and initially, I don't think a lot of people take me seriously. If I tell them, like, yeah, I'm a drummer. Oh yeah, I'm a metal drummer. Yeah, I'm in a band. Like they don't, until they actually see me play. I mean, like, then they get it. Then they're like, oh, okay, like, she can actually play. And so
yeah, because they only know you for that, and then in their minds, that's all you do, right? But
yeah,
wow, that's like a very small part of everything. Yeah,
exactly. Which that aspect can be frustrating, because, like, really, the adult stuff, it's just a job. Like, and it's not even, it's I do a lot of different jobs. I mean, I freaking have worked in health clinics, like, and see patients, and I teach yoga, and, like, but people don't want to focus on that. Like, they're like, oh wow, like, she's a porn star, or she used to be a porn star, or whatever it is, I mean, so, like, that can get annoying, for sure. But I just, I gloss over it. I don't let it bother me. I'm pretty thick-skinned at this point in my life. I mean, I've been probably called every name in the world you can think of, and been bullied for a good portion of my life. But I really have just come to realize over time, I mean, when people intentionally want to hurt you or bring them down to your level, it's because most of the time they're miserable with their own lives, and they're just, they're insecure. They just want to project their own negativity onto you. So a lot of times I feel sorry for them. I'm like, you know what? I would never feel the need to go out of my way to hurt someone's feelings or bully them. So sucks that you got to do that. I mean, just don't let it bother me,
Yeah, you can't.
But I was gonna say, but at the same time, there's been several adult film stars that crossed over into music and did pretty well. I mean, Heather Hunter had some hit singles. I mean, Andrea True, that song is everywhere, every commercial, like, it's in movies. So I mean, it's not like it would be outlandish for you to become a successful musician.
No, exactly. And I mean, honestly, I put it this way. I just am going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to play. I love drumming. Like, I do it because I love it and I have fun. And it's something, it's a passion of mine. I'll play till the day I die, I mean, I kind of always told myself too, I mean, I was very realistic with myself, like, at points where I know I have the potential to be better than I am. I think that I'm a good drummer. I like how I play, I love what I do. But if I don't ever have the opportunity to make it, like, as a living, that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing it because I love it. I'm not doing it because I want to get famous and blow up. Like, I'm doing it because I fucking love to do it. And if it's a byproduct that I become successful, then great, but that's not why I'm doing it, and like, we talk about that sometimes too, because I've been in some bands, like, where we've toured, and I've toured with professional bands, not as the drummer, but, like, just, hanging around and being a drum tech. But I've seen that lifestyle, and I see, like, what it can do to people. And so there's a part of me that's almost like, do I really want that? Like, would I want to be a touring professional musician my whole life? Like, I don't know, maybe, but I'm just going with the flow right now, and I'm just going to work hard and keep practicing and doing what I love to do. So
that's what it's all about.
Can't ask for more.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to say, for anybody watching who is into yoga at all, Felicity has a whole bunch of, like, really amazing like yoga videos, and me as like an old guy, I watch some of these and I'm like,
Oh,
my
everything
body
hurts
is
just
hurting
looking at
just
it.
like watching, because I'm like, does the body really go in that direction, in that angle? I'm thinking, I'm like, my shoulder is already feeling like it's coming off, and my back is already feeling like it's breaking. But it's just amazing that you can like do those sort of things, and the splits and everything. It's like, wow, that's pretty intense. But I'm sure you've been
Very
doing it your whole
impressive.
life, so to you it's like nothing.
Oh, no, thank you. I mean, yeah, like I was very athletic growing up, did gymnastics, and I love dancing, and I just, flexibility to me has always been very important. Like because my body, I can really overwork myself sometimes, and I have so much energy and like endurance. I can just keep going and going and going, and sometimes I burn myself out. So flexibility is like very important for me to just find release and to relax my muscles. And yeah, I mean, a lot of it is it's just training your muscles. Like if you just keep doing it, you got to put time into it regularly, and over time, your muscles adapt, just like drumming. I mean, drumming is muscle memory. I mean, double bass, like it's literally just doing it over and over and over, and just getting your muscles to adapt and be able to do that and build up speed. I mean, flexibility is like that too. And I mean, Jesus, I don't even consider myself like a super expert too with yoga. I mean, I have some friends that can do shit that I'm like, oh, I can't do that yet, but it's really just mental and physical focus. It's just doing that and letting go and kind of relaxing and learning about your body, but yoga is definitely, it's amazing for just learning about learning about yourself and like your physical capabilities. And when you can grow that, it's such an awesome feeling. Just like music, when I can, after practicing a lot, like when I start to notice I'm able to do something new that I wasn't able to do before, I love that feeling. Like it is so cool. Like I just feel so good about myself and like my intention that I'm putting into this, because I'm like, wow, I'm working, and the progress, it's paying off, like I can see myself progress. And we've seen that in each other, like we had a conversation once after practice. We're like, wow, we've improved a lot. Like we've improved a lot just by playing together and learning from each other, so music's awesome for that way. It's like another language.
Yeah, Felicity's so enthusiastic too, because even with the yoga, like she'll come to band practice sometimes and be like, oh my gosh, I can do this new thing doing yoga, like, and like pull her leg like over her shoulder. Like it's pretty wild.
Chris and I are both probably thinking flexible.
Okay.
Yeah, flexibility.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time
Wow.
I used that in conjunction with myself at all. Like,
I have to say though, it helps my drumming a lot, being
I'm
flexible.
sure it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially like, a lot of people don't realize, like a lot of drummers really get issues with their hip flexors, especially playing double bass. And I mean, I have some friends that would go to physical therapists, like the drummer friends that would go to physical therapy for their hips. And I mean, regularly doing, so even basic yoga moves like pigeon, or just triangle and like opening up my hips, it's helped me a lot playing, and has helped me loosen up my muscles or my calves. Like I have really muscular calves, which I'm a little embarrassed about sometimes. Because they're just like, it's from playing drums. I mean, literally, like playing the double bass has made my calf muscles kind of big. And I have to regularly stretch out my calves and my Achilles. But so many musicians can benefit from stretching and doing yoga. I mean, it would literally help your mental and musical performance by incorporating that into your lifestyle. I mean, it's helped me a lot. Trying to get Stephen into it next.
Oh, I've been into yoga.
No, I know. Stephen does yoga too.
I'm just not flexible. That's the only issue.
He's gonna do split soon.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, I was gonna say, good for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, that's just kind of, it's kind of my life in a nutshell. And sometimes though, like being involved in a lot of different things, and especially I have to say, like having worked in the adult industry, it can be a little isolating, like because people can judge you in a certain way and make assumptions about you. And that upsets me sometimes when people kind of cast their prejudice towards me because they're basing who I am off of that, you know, which is a shame, but it's just it's a little bit part of that whole world, you know. But overall, you know, I like my life a lot. So
That's the important thing. That's
Very
the-
cool.
Cool.
Well, since it's a music channel and I'm a huge Danzig fan, I have to have a self-indulgent question about your appearance in Glenn Danzig's
I knew this was coming. No,
Erotica.
I did.
Yeah. How was that experience? Did you see the movie afterwards? And what did you think?
Yeah. Okay. So one of my friends was one of the directors for it and asked me if I wanted to be in it. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I mean, I have to be honest. I was never really a huge Misfits fan. I will say that.
I am. I love the Misfits.
He does.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean,
That's my man, Stephen.
yeah. I mean, I shouldn't say like I was not a fan. I just don't know their music well. Like I never dove into their discography. It was not something that I was really drawn to. So I don't know their music that well. So I'll say that.
This is like you and I right here, the two of them.
Oh,
and
totally. Yeah,
next,
I
I'm the same
love
way
Danzig.
with Misfits.
Yeah.
Well,
I like Danzig. I
went
just
to
never
reunion
listened to
shows.
Misfits.
Yeah, I definitely hit reunion shows when they did reunion shows.
Oh yeah, I went to 7 of the Misfits reunion shows.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's so
I
funny.
flew to LA, Chicago 2 or 3 times. The New
that's
York
really
ones,
cool.
yeah. Yeah, I
Speaking
love that
of,
stuff.
real quick, complete side note, you just said Chicago. I flew from Chicago back home today. I was in Milwaukee for one day doing this photo shoot. And it was a crazy photo shoot involving reptiles that I had to hold. But it was a
That
high
could be
paid
scary.
gig. Literally flew in, did the photo shoot, and then flew out early the next morning. Like didn't want to be there.
I was calling
But-
her the lizard queen.
Oh my God.
Nice.
It was for like a private buyer, like a private collector. And it was a high paying gig. Then I did it last year, but like basically they have this collection of exotic snakes and lizards and they wanted me to hold it and like pose with it. But I mean, it's like one of the most bizarre things I've ever done, but whatever. It was money, you know, so I did that. There was no direct flights to Milwaukee, so I had to fly to Chicago, then Milwaukee. And then so this morning I got up at 6 a.m., went from Milwaukee to Chicago. When I was going from Chicago back home to LA, some guy on the plane got in a fight with the flight attendant. I had my headphones on the whole time. Like I had these big Tascam headphones on that were pretty heavy duty. I was watching this comedy movie, completely oblivious that these people were fighting behind me. And they basically couldn't detain this guy and they had to stop in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And we landed and I was like, oh, wow, that went quicker than I thought.
Oh,
I look up 3 Albuquerque policemen come onto the plane and put this guy in handcuffs. And I'm like looking at their badge. I'm like, wait a second, we're not in LA. I'm like, what the fuck? And so they took this guy off the plane. We were there for a while and they had to get police reports. Our plane was delayed a couple hours. It was fucking terrible. But like,
wow.
That's got to be on the news, you would think, because anytime one of those crazy events.
Oh,
happens,
yeah.
it's usually.
I mean, it's probably going to.
Oh, there's got to be like cell phone footage or
Oh,
something.
for sure.
Yeah, but like I just can't believe I feel so silly that I was literally oblivious to this whole thing. And then like there was this old couple next to me. And I'm like, what just happened? They're like, I'm like, are we in LA? And he's like, no. He's like, we're in New Mexico. I'm like, so yeah, I got home. That's why I didn't reply to your email because we were stuck. It was kind of a weird day, but we're here. So now, but anyway, back to Danzig. So yeah, one of my friends asked if I wanted to be on in the Danzig movie, and I'm really not a horror person. I'm not really into horror. Steven is.
Again, I love it.
He loves it.
Watch the most brutal horror movies there are, and not even bat an eye.
Oh,
Well, Steven, you got to make sure you watch a show we do here on the channel called The Monsters Den. It's the only
Yep.
non-music show we do. It's all about horror movies. We do it every Thursday night.
Okay,
oh God,
definitely.
you would love that
Yes,
because he's into these
absolutely.
weird like indie horror movies and like, well, like at practice sometimes he'll be like, oh, you want to hear about this horror movie I just watched? I'm like, no, Stephen, I don't want to know. And he just keeps going. Anyway, I'm just not into it. I mean, I like thrillers and suspense, but I just don't like to see the human body mutilated. It's just not really my thing. Or I don't know. I don't like feeling unnecessary cortisol like rise in my body. If I need an adrenaline rush, like I'll ride my motorcycle, you know, like that's like what I'll do. But anyways, so Danzig, I enjoyed the experience. It was fun. A few girls, like other adult girls that were in there, I was friends with and knew. So it was kind of fun to like be on set with everyone. We filmed it at a strip club in LA. What is it called? It's on Sunset. Like right in Hollywood, the really popular one. I can't think of it. Like by the Whiskey A Go Go. At that one.
That's Hustlers right there. It's not Hustlers.
No, it's I can't think of it. Whatever, it's there, but it's this gross, shitty club. But we filmed it there, and I was pretty new with my implants actually, because I got my implants when I was like 25. This was like 4 years ago, I think. Yeah, so I said I would do it. Yeah. And it was fun. It was pretty simple. I mean, it wasn't like anything that intense. I had a few lines I remember, but yeah, I mean, seeing myself, I was a little bit thicker then, because it was right after my surgery and like I had gained a little bit of weight. So not like tremendously, like I've never been like not in good shape, but for me it was like, whoa, I look thicker. So that's like my reaction when I saw myself. But Danzig was kind of funny. I don't want to talk shit because we're on a YouTube channel, but like he was a little bit of an asshole to the male performers. Like he was nice to all the girls, like all of us, but he was a little mean to some of the other actors. Definitely, I think has that like Napoleon complex going on. But other than that, I mean, it was a fun experience. It was cool. But yeah, I mean, I love acting. I really enjoy it. It's just I'm covered in tattoos, and you know, I'm not, my future is not going to have a big acting career, but I've definitely like enjoyed being in an extra role, you know, and taking little gigs when I can get it. But yeah, it's fun, you know.
Don't you still work for his manager?
Oh, well, yeah. Okay. So also my other connection with him, one of my really close friends, he manages the Misfits. He manages a bunch of big bands. He works for CAA, and he also owns a cannabis company that I was doing events management for this past year, but it was a little too much between everything else I'm doing. So I stepped down and just said, you know, I'll be a rep like for events, you know, I'll be like the sales manager for the team, but like, you know, to have a full-time job running a cannabis company, like their social events, it was a little too much. But anyways, yeah, so he also is connected with the Misfits, and I've gone backstage and hung out at a few of their shows, like come to think of it, but I feel like a little bit like a poser because I don't really like, I don't really know them that well.
That's funny.
But, you know, but yeah, it was a cool experience, you know.
I gotta say, Felicity, I mean, I know you don't like horror movies, but I think you totally have the look to be in horror movies, because in horror movies, you can have as many tattoos as you want. Nobody cares.
True.
It's quite common.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, like, there was another like short little indie film, or wasn't short, it was a couple of indie films I've been in that are like kind of horror. They're on my IMDb. I can't remember what it's called, but like there was one, it was actually right after I got my implants, and they were scarred still, like they looked pretty brutal. Like it was like new, you know, and maybe like a couple months after I got them, and I got a lift and implants, so I had like a scar that went down and under. Like now I have tattoos covering that up. But this horror movie, they asked if I wanted to like be an extra in it for a part where I'm in a bathtub, dead, like naked, and it's just like blood and my implants. It's so bad. I don't think I actually saw that movie, but that was brutal. Yeah, so I mean, I think I'm probably gonna be in this short horror film thing again in a couple of months, but yeah, I mean, I'm open to doing that. I just don't really like to watch horror. But yeah.
Fair enough.
Something just dropped.
So so this has been actually a lot of fun. And
Yeah.
so for everybody watching, like I said, we're going to put some links down below that you can go check out their music. Any places you want to just kind of verbally direct everybody to here before we let you guys go?
I mean, we have our old EP out under Constraints of Light, you know, under iTunes and Spotify.
Yeah, it's streaming, Bandcamp.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of stuff on YouTube. You know, we have our Instagram and Twitter, Constraints of Light.
Yeah, Constraints of Light.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely, I'm trying to get a photographer to do some more professional band photos soon. I'd love to get a music video done too in the next couple months, but yeah, so I mean, we have a lot of things coming out soon, and once we decide if we're going to try to find a label or just self-release, yeah, we'll have more of an update, you know. But if anyone wants to follow me on social media, like my website blog is felicityfuel.com. There's kind of everything on there. I have a podcast too. I haven't updated it in a while because I was moving and lost a lot of my equipment. But now that I'm in my new house, I'm going to be setting that up again. So I'm going to be trying to get episodes out like once a week. But yeah, Felicity Feline official on Instagram. Twitter is just Felicity X Feline. So
cool.
You can find me.
Excellent.
Sounds good. Well, everybody go check out Constraints of Light, check out Felicity, and visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. Check us out on Twitter. And of course, we're here on this place called YouTube all the damn time. For Stephen and Felicity and Chris, I am Pete. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you real soon here on the channel. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.